What are you guys trying to do to me? It's finally up to 38. You guys need to keep your weather up north. Well, good morning, everyone. It's Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I'm still doing bees. Hey, it's Saturday morning, April 9th. And we got to 36 when I first got up. What is wrong with April? That's all right, at least it didn't freeze. It's cold. I had to break out my sweatshirt again, guys. I was out there working bees in 70-degree weather yesterday. But yeah, it was a busy day yesterday. Yesterday's the day I went and got that swarm for Bill, and we checked my traps, and I left the one trap out there that's got bees. I'm gonna leave it until it's time to go check the other one and bring Bill's bees back, because I got that earmarked for something, so I don't need it right now. Well, we are back in town. Man, it has warmed up beautiful. Oh my goodness, the temperature is gorgeous. Everything's blooming. This place down here tends to have more nectar, it appears. We are further south. Just looking at the dewberries, what they call dewberries around here. I call them blackberries, but I guess they're the early ones that are bigger. I don't know. We always call them blackberries where I was from in North Florida. Nonetheless, these things are blooming and blowing up around here, and it's a much more robust bloom down here with the buildup stuff. There's tons of thistle out there, and apparently bees love thistle. And you know, they used to eat thistle. Like, they used to go out in fields and send the kids out and gather thistle. And I don't know how they cooked it or what they did with it, or if it was raw. I don't know, but they ate it. Y'all ever heard of that? I didn't know. I learned that a few years ago. But apparently the bees like it too. So we're gonna get to work and just really, I'm just checking colonies. We've done very, very well with swarm control so far, and I'm happy with that. But you know, we're still in the midst. Seems like once they turn that flow on a little bit though, which is not a big flow, but it's enough to where they're starting to put some in supers at home. Once that happens, they tend to switch to maybe, hey, we're hanging out and building up mode, because we gotta get ready. So hopefully that one on the end, I've just about pulled nukes off everything, or split or something down here, so we should be good. Let's take a look and see where we're at with these bees. And I'm gonna sit you in front of the colonies. You can watch them for a little bit while I go get my gear on. So as usual, I never remember what I did to them, and I have my notes, but I don't check them before I come out. I check them after I go home, and I shouldn't. But anyway, I don't remember. I think I did end up pulling a nuke off this first one, but that's the main one. I'm concerned about any swarming problems. If they did, the other two seem to be in check, because I split that one. I pulled a big nuke off of that one early on. This one just got built up into 2 supers, but that's usually the prime time, is right as they're doing that transition, seems like, for me. And then this one, I want to say I pulled another nuke off of it, but we're gonna find out. So everybody's basically, I put 2 supers on. I don't care if the queen goes up. That's not a problem for me. A lot of bees gathered up into the super, but no new wax. This is the one that has a lot of white wax on the top. I don't think I did pull anything off of it. I don't know. I can't remember. Well, there's a new frame in there, so I did something. I don't know what I did to this one, but I see a new frame, so I must have done something. I don't see any white wax up here like I had. Obviously, I did something. So the first thing I do is this. Quick tilt. Let's see what I got on the bottom. It's heavy. And I got nothing really. I mean, some cups, but yeah, I pulled bees off of this. I can tell I did. Yeah, I definitely pulled bees. So you get these little cups. They're always there this time of year. They just build them. I double check a few of them, but like the big ones, I'll double check those. Nothing in them. And then I just crush them all. and then I go in and make sure I've got eggs. And yeah, I pulled bees off of this. I have to look at my notes, but I'm positive I did. Because I think I gave up on trying. I was like to the point where, you know what? They want to swarm. Let me fix them. I think that's what I did. So I just cut. The cups will be built overnight probably, but no biggie. I still do it to make me feel better. It's just what I do. And then we take a look in top of it, and we'll go ahead and see if the queen's been laying in here and if everything looks normal. And if everything looks normal, I'll put it back together and see if they're actually doing anything in that super as far as fixing it and repairing it and getting it ready. Yeah, I'm seeing what I did now. This was definitely one I pulled 5 frames off of, which is fine because main flow's coming soon enough. And there's a brood in this thing. The brood is something. Little cups in there. Set that to the side. I just set it right here. Now I do have one of those racks that hangs on the side, but like for this particular setup, it would work, but at home it doesn't work. So drawing this out really nice. They're slow going on it, but they're pulling it out. Both sides slowly. That's fine. My main thing is to see if they're queen right. Sometimes if they're still heavy in the top, at this point, what I've done with a few boxes, if they're still heavy in the top and they're and there's more space in the bottom, I'll still reverse it this time of year. I did it with a few the other day. And granted, I put some of the honey down low, but it's okay. All right, so in this one, real young larvae and eggs. And I will try to show you. So that's a good sign. So they had a queen 3 days ago. Let's put one more frame and just get an idea. Since it's a slow day, I got 35 or 40 done at the house. All I gotta do here is zip through about 10, and then the rest of the day is mine. Oh yeah, this is I like old cups on here. You know, I've had nothing but a problem finding this queen. The last few times. I did finally find her eventually one time, but it was tough. Yeah, these are all, okay, these are frames I gave them. And they're cleaning this one out and loading some of it with nectar. So yeah, just loading it up with nectar. So when you give them empty frames this late, here in my region, I've noticed that they will. Not always. She won't always just move up and fill them with eggs. They'll fill them with nectar because there is a light to moderate flow coming in. Yeah, we have no danger of swarming on this one. Doesn't appear. So we'll move on to the next here in just a second. Notice I don't have any white wax up here, so I obviously opened up the nest. It's pretty bad when you can't remember, huh? Full of larvae. Yeah, they'll be good for the flow. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together. No need to disrupt them anymore. That's simply what I've been doing, guys. That's what I did in the yard yesterday, and everybody looked good. I don't like to shove it in with it, so you see me shake them sometimes. I don't like to shove that in like that with that ball of bees, so just give them a quick shake just to knock some down. That way I don't roll anybody, or if the queen happens to be in there, because it is a brood frame. Just want to be careful. All right, let's move on to the next. Well, actually, we're going to look in the super and see if they're cleaning those up any. Put this super back up. I just want to see what these bees are doing. Are they cleaning up this old comb? This is old comb. They're actually filling that one with honey. There's nectar in that, and there's wax going in, looks like. So I got the numbers down and left the supers on, obviously is what it's looking like, and it's starting to put a little nectar up top, which is good. Don't want it in the nest too much. And here, same thing, a little bit of nectar. But that's, hey, when they're on a light to moderate flow like this, and I say light because it can get really light, hey, that's a good thing. So that's good. So they are stacking some nectar. I got some colonies back home that are actually, I ended up, there was like 6 frames of nectar. Yeah, slowly but surely. Don't see any eggs in this, so she's not coming up here yet. She could. And I see honey. Nectar going in, and they're building the wax out slowly. These are some of my oldest boxes. I've been rotating these out each year. So we're safe on this one. Shoot, this one can sit here for the next couple weeks, at least 10 days, safely. We're good. Now this one, I just supered up last week because they were growing into the second deep pretty well already. And I'm not too concerned about beetles out this way, so I'm not sweating them. So I gave them a lot of space whether they needed it or not, because I wanted to be ahead of the game. But that means nothing, because look at the amount of bees down there. So let's do what we do. Same thing on this one, not a lot of bees at all. No cap cells, but just some cups, empty looking like. Yeah. And empty cells and not a lot of bees. There's an egg in one of those. That's it. The rest don't. Nope, empty. Empty, empty, empty. That one looks like it could have something in it, but I squashed it. Yeah, but nothing showing they're swarming. It's narrow, but no biggie. I went ahead and gave it a deep, and they built up into the deep pretty well, but it stayed narrow, so it may just keep going straight up. I don't know. But what I didn't want to do was lose a good production colony. This will not yield me any early honey, but the early honey will build them up. Let's look and see if they're queen right. They got a lot of bees. I mean, it's about 6 frames in the bottom, and they're all the way across the top. But they're not up and down all the way, because as you can see when we flipped it up, the smoke ran them up to the top. So they're still kind of light on bees. They're not booming, but they'll grow. And we're ahead of the game with the supers. So yep, empty space, stacking nectar in here in the second deep, which is what they'll do on the outsides, hopefully, and not on the insides. There's our pollen frame. We're at the edge of the nest. We'll go ahead and go on in then. So that tells me the nest is at least 6 frames wide, no problem. They're building a nectar dome on top. And that's why I reversed some of the colonies yesterday, was to just open that up and let them know to go on up. Giving them the free pass to going up. All those cells that are in the middle that aren't covered are polished. There's no eggs in them though. Look, fat frame of brood. Pretty brood. That's bees. So I think what I used to do this, and I've learned not to, is I underestimate when I see 4 or 5 frames like this. What I underestimate is the fact that each day, once one starts coming out, then the next one does, the next one. That's a lot of bees. And so I'm sitting there going, well, you know, the bees are only 6 frames across. Do I really need a super yet? Yet I got like 6 frames like that. They know that's bees. Obviously, I didn't know. And so over the years, I've learned that, hey, when you see slabs of brood like that, here pretty soon, that's going to be, all those are going to be bees in your colony. Like this one that's just recently come out and now is being backfilled. And once one frame comes out, you know, once they start coming out in the spring, it's one day after the next day after the next day. They all begin to merge day after day after day. Now look in this one, and she's backfilled it beautifully. So what we see is there was a big patch of brood, and these are older and these are younger. So they began to emerge, and they'll keep on doing that, and then they'll go back to the middle and do it again. And that's textbook. That's textbook. And as you, I don't know if you guys can see well or not, but as you look, you got finishing capping out. That was a late day, but there's the larvae, and then they get to be more and younger and younger and younger. So that's neat to me. Same on this side, exact same thing. And then the nest goes all the way out. So we're all the way out here at the edge, and we have that. So she's filling in the middle. Don't know what's in the bottom. I'm not going to go in the bottom. I'm going to leave them alone. I've seen eggs. That's what I want to see. I went further than I normally would go. And there's brood on the very outside too. We're going to call that good. They're not in the supers at all. But they're also not that big. I was doing a preemptive strike on space. So let's take a look at this one. I just smoked it. This is the split we did. And I can tell you now, they could probably use it. We'll see. Let's look at the bee count. So what I did with this one, if you remember from the video, and I should be able to link it up above. I can. Gave them some foundation on the sides and threw a half drum one in the middle. And we broke them down, took the entire half of the box away, which is doing good back home. Left the queen here. That's what we did. And they're filling that with nectar and have drawn it out. Build wonky comb, don't like that. And this one's not full of nectar. Okay, we'll super this one to be sure, because they're definitely putting honey up top. Look. This is the edge of the nest, though. She's got larvae in here. So let's see how this split grew right back up into this second deep. And that's why I said when I split it that day, I came back the next day, I wanted to do the excluder method because I needed to have a second deep immediately on it. Oh wow. I moved one frame of brood up on this, if you remember, a couple weeks ago. See the new white wax going in the top? Let me get us a couple supers on here. So I seeded one frame. Isn't that right? I think I did. Look at this thing. Look at that. That's new. Didn't see that one. Look at that. She's a machine. Look at that. Look at that. Let's see what this brand new frame is. I'll put a foundation in just to see what they do. Look. That thing is all eggs. I expect she'll be on here. Maybe. That's all eggs. And on this side. This one here, they're slow. I'm not worried about them. Put one on another week. That'll save me a couple for the house. Good looking colony. Good looking colony. So just popped the top on this one and I pulled this frame out. I want to show you. So I pulled the top super off. And I noticed white wax on top of this. And sure enough, they're filling it with nectar. Now what they're also filling it with is the queen is up here. But look how far she's went. She stopped right here. If I tallow, that'll all be honey. Yes, it will be brood comb. Yes, it will be a pain to store. But what I'll do is do what I did last year. Separate all the brood comb. See, that's all full of nectar. The whole frame is full except for that one spot of brood. What'll happen is I'll separate the brood so that I know where it's at. And I'll set those boxes different than the other ones. And honestly, if it's not heavy brood, it's only been in there once, I don't have a terrible problem with wax moths if we have a cold winter. This one, she's been in a little bit more. She might even be up here. But see, they're filling this one up. So it's each, now this is all honey on this side. So it's funny how each colony's doing a little different. I don't equalize, so my colonies are always going to be at different spots. I've thought about equalizing, but guys, for me, it's a great way to do it. Commercial guys have to do it. It really saves them time, gets everybody right on track of where they need them to be. They know where everybody's at, so they're not doing what I'm doing and having to check so much. But I tell you, doing it in double deeps for me seems like a lot of extra work, but it would pay off, I think. Just going through that hive, that colony that I took that nuke from in the video where I did it specifically to show you how I was taking nukes. They've already drawn this comb out. And you talk about another textbook center out to outside. They're still a little fussy, but not like they were. They've calmed down with the population down, but they still got a little bit in them that seems a little fussy, and I don't care for it. But you know, you hate to take a queen out like this, but next year we may have to. But they're not bad. They're buzzing me. They're not happy, but that I'm in there. And these particularly don't like the camera. But I'm just going through this other 6 over here, and really quick, checking queen right and make sure all of these have been split down hard. There's only one I'm concerned about swarming. I cut cells down, pulled bees, everything else. So if they did just like the rest of them did, we should be set. Working on this one a little bit. Look at the bees in this thing. No swarm cells or anything, just packed full of bees. Look at this brood. And see all those bees, and then add this into it. Okay, look at that. And then there's nectar right there. Then you turn around, the next one's all, this one's all nectar. This one right here is all nectar. Then throw this one into the pile. This one here, sorry about the bees, I don't know why they're so rowdy. This from that other colony. This one is all larvae. All larvae. Every bit of it. Same on that side. And so, you know, there's eggs in there, they're queen right, they're loaded. And then if I look down in here, this one I don't know what it appears to be. Let's see, I think I might have already looked at it, I don't remember. Just run through them, but pollen and larvae, and it's just loaded with bees. I'm gonna put them back. That's all I need to see. They got a super, they're gonna get a second one. They're already working up into that one a little bit, but I tell you, they're rolling. Everybody's rolling, everybody's getting with it. I mean, they're moving and they're working. And even this one, I got one over there, it was weak, but it's growing. So everything's going along. It's a good day in the bees. Beautiful weather. So, got a few residual bees next to me. I don't want to go away, but we're wrapping it up. Actually, I need to pull that entrance reducer. Wrapping it up. All these colonies look good. Showed you a couple little notes from them, but that one there is building up. It's a split, so it's taking a while to grow back, but it's got a super for when it's ready. Well, it was where I took a nuke off. That one's a split. It's growing up. It's not quite ready for a super yet. That split over there, it needed supers quick, so it's growing faster. This one, I had written it off. I thought it was shot. And they exploded in the last week. Really exploded. In fact, to the point where I split the brood nest. Something I did on only a few hives this year, but I'd heard Dr. Jeff Harris talk about if you had 6 or 8 frames, split them in half, put 4 on top, 4 on bottom, or 3 on top, 3 on bottom, foundation the rest, put their honey in here and there on the edges. And so I tried that on that one, got a second deep on them. They're growing good. She's got sheets of brood in there, so let's pull this out real quick. Don't need this in there. They're getting big. Of course, that's the split I told you about. I had to put a super on. These here, I was concerned about them swarming, and nah, they're, you know, I wiped cells out of them about 10 days ago, and they're good to go. They're filling up into the brood, into the supers. And this one I just showed you how packed it was. They got a second super on there. Everybody's looking good, very happy with it. What I am seeing is several supers are gonna have some brood in it, but you know what, I'm okay with that. As far as swarm control, hey, the measures are working. You know, I had a person tell me when I said, yeah, when I start seeing cells, I begin to cut them off and I'll take a nuke out of them, and they said, that doesn't work. And I hate when people do that. It does too work. Now, granted, if they're capped cells, you know, 4 or 5 capped cells, but I've even pulled it where there's been 1 capped cell, killed all the cells, killed everything on every frame, and took a nuke, and they've stayed. That one's a prime example. You know, there's 4 or 5 capped cells, yeah, they're probably going to swarm no matter what you do, but I hate when people go, that doesn't work. Well, yeah, it does. So that has worked well. My splits have worked well. And reversing boxes here and there, adding space and killing cells, and then going in the next week and killing cells after about 2 weeks and adding space and making sure I got all the cells. That seems to have worked just fine this year again. So, but next week's a whole new week. We don't know what we'll see. We don't know how much of the brood nest they may fill up. We just don't know these things, folks. We watch every week at this time of year for us down here anyway, and it's a solid couple months because they grow so fast. They explode so fast within a week's time sometimes. So very pleased with all, I don't know, I think I've looked at 45 or 50. I know I've got several nukes I didn't look at. So everybody seems to be looking good. Some are loading nectar, some are putting a little brood in there with the nectar. I almost fell down walking backwards. And some are growing into their second deeps really well, and some splits are lagging behind just a bit. But in the end, that's what's going on, and everything seems to be going all right. So I'm pleased, and it was a great day in the bees. Nice temperature, wonderful temperatures yesterday and today. Beautiful morning this morning in the upper 30s, mid 30s to the low 40s, just gorgeous. And I really had a very pleasant weather-wise weekend for working bees. It's not gonna last long, but it's also stabilizing a little bit. When it stabilizes and we get a flow, I'm not in them. I'll look in supers pretty much. Sometimes if one looks a little packed, I might go in it, but for the most part, I look in the supers. Watch for space and give them space and let them keep filling. And it gets easier from there. And then the second flow, same thing. So it gets easier as we go until major honey pull, and then it gets a little strenuous. But other than that, the season is rolling along, folks. I know some of you guys are just getting started. I send my very best wishes with all of you guys that are starting to rock and roll and starting to do your splits. I'm hearing from people all over the country, all over the world, telling me where they're at and what they're doing. And I know you guys are getting excited. I'm getting to be about a third of the way through this thing, and I'm happy to see us kind of stabilizing a little bit. And like I said, it seems like when they turn that nectar on and when they get into that, when I can get them up in that box, when I can get them up in there, we slow down a lot at that point, and that's when things get so much better, so much easier, because then they turn off that swarm mode for the most part, and they go into that store mode and horde mode. Now, the next issue we'll have is having enough supers and making sure they have plenty of space to put nectar, because our flow is when it comes to those tallow trees, that flow explodes so very fast. In 10 days they will easily draw and fill a super medium, and in 7 days, if it's drawn, they'll fill it in 7 days. So it's so fast and furious that you got to have a lot of supers on, or they begin to pack the brood nest with nectar and become honey bound, and then that's the second set of swarming around June. So late summer swarms are deadly. They don't usually recover from those too well. Requeening is a nightmare for them, nightmare for us, but you know, and I always have a couple that do it. I did last year. You can refer to some of the videos where I go in and I rescue honey, because I know if I leave it on there too long and they're that weak, the hive beetles will decimate it. So as always, folks, I appreciate all of you guys, and I hope you did enjoy this video. I know it's mundane, but it's what we're doing this time of year. Remember, I'm not showing you how to, I'm just doing a how I do video. Just take it for what it's worth. It's Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do bees and have been doing bees and will still be doing bees for quite some time here for this season. You guys have a wonderful afternoon, and may God bless you. We'll see y'all later.